Greetings and welcome to Let's Read Vaporum. You're wondering where are you at the moment? And I was checking something and I was missing a note. And then I was like, what the fuck? I researched a little bit and I didn't check one whole area in this creepy little thing. Whoopsie daisy! Let's go back. And the good thing is about this game is you can actually walk back the levels. Pretty sure there are some games where this is not the case, but not in this one. I'm pretty sure I find an awesome 200 weapon here that I would have made my life easier, but... Oh gee whiz, look at this. Yeah, shut up. Die. Die. Ah.
Marcus has sailed away to the Bureau Citadel, supposedly to answer for how he lost control over me in the tower, to provide explanations and defend me from prosecution for neglecting protocol. Marcus is a coward. A scared fool, a short-sighted lackey to the Bureau who can't understand the importance of freedom in my research projects.
Oh.
Same goes for all the fools who've been rebelling against me since his departure, unwilling to continue the experiments. Who cares? Now that Marcus is away, my real research shall commence, whether anyone likes it or not.
I don't understand how she could have grown so distant from me. I just can't believe the change was natural. There must have been something sinister behind it all.
Okay. Foreman boots. Advanced step. Okay. So let's read and listen to notes and stuff like that. Oh god, it's a lot. Yeah, 88. Oxpedia acid effect. Oh, okay. When splashed by acid, the target's healing and repairing capabilities are greatly reduced, and they take some damage over a short period of time. Enemies capable of spraying acid are resistant to all acid effects themselves. Makes sense. When suffering with deep gashes in the flesh, a target takes a small amount of damage over a short period of time, but greatly increased damage while moving. Mechanical enemies do not bleed. When burning, the target and the nearby allies take some damage over time. Enemies capable of causing burning are resistant to all burning effects themselves. When struck by an electric shock, the target's damage output is greatly reduced, and they take some damage over a short period of time. Enemies capable of producing such a shock are resistant to all shock effects themselves. Victor Baskerville, Mannheim missing. From what I know, Mannheim was called to the upper floors, the old grouch. He filed a report on a drone malfunction to the office, and they called him up. Haven't seen him since. Kinda strange. Anyway, before he comes back, don't even think of touching the bloody pipes yourself. I'm not having him breathing down my neck for breaking protocol. Winnie Bench, what's up for you? Morning, Kinley. Here's something to get into the new crates with. Leave them babies open by the evening. Don't do anything stupid with it, though. They sent me a new lad named Ben Kinley. Not sure why, but he seems to crave the hard work here. Don't know what's so lovely about hoarding crates all day long. But he's a good kid. Maybe he wants to impress the big shots from upstairs to get a warm place on the fueling unit or something. Ha! Too bad no admin ever comes down here to see us. This is a dump no one cares about. I really miss my buddy Adam. The dude had one messed up sense of humor. Got fired over some naughty pictures or something. Now the new kid, he sure is one hell of a workhorse, but he seriously needs to lighten up. Have some fun, man. He just keeps himself to himself all the goddamn time. I thought I hidden corridor, a perfect place to hide my precious piercer. There's a strict ban on guns here on the Oxford Commoners, but nobody's going to take a gun off a Barberton. My dad gave it to me and his dad gave it to him. All the way back to great-great-granddaddy. We Bretons take care of ourselves. If only I hadn't bent a screw in the wall brace, I just hope no one notices. Today's council session was weird. Wyke's wife Laura refused to share the results of human research with her fellow scientists, and it was Chief Officer Wyke himself who requested it from her. Wife or not, he should not defer to her so easily. Actually, he should not refer to her at all. I don't quite understand their relationship anymore. She was a mid-ranking substance field scientist until recently. I'm beginning to think Wyke is not really in charge of things around here. Looks to me like she is, and there's sure something weird about her. I'm starting to feel a bit depressed. It's been quite a few weeks since I saw daylight. So much work, so much paperwork to be precise. Jeez. And the chief robotics engineer 112 has been bugging me for days with stupid questions. If everyone continues to keep asking access questions about their jobs, I'll never get out of the shithole of an office again. Screw them. I actually got outside today, at long last, but there was nothing to see really. The mist seems to be ever present over the sea. At least the cold wind on my face made me feel alive again. Also, I saw the little girl on the terrace, Wyke's daughter. She's an angel, so cute, and yet so out of place. What a childhood in such a metallic monstrosity. And we even call it home now. Through the cold authoritarian education of her mother, Laura Wyke, I think that plush bear the girl clings to is the only trace of an infancy she can relate to. And Marcus tolerates this? Fumium light. This is becoming almost laughable. We've just discovered yet another use of fumium. Light! During motion, liquid form it glows with its mesmerizing light blue color. I've been staring at it for days since the Korea and I just can't get enough. Very pleasant on the eyes. I have submitted a proposal to use fumium for lighting, and it's already everywhere in circulation anyway. That would save us lots of running costs. Laura Wyke was ecstatic about it. She said that the more ways you can put fumium to work, the better. So I hope the proposal will go through. It will be so much more beautiful out here afterwards. Wyke's little girl Sophie seems to have a way with the fumium-powered robots and mechanisms. I don't quite understand how, but she has befriended one of the discarded golems. These are quite dangerous given their immense power that they tend to behave in unpredictable ways. But not with her. She plays and talks with it just like it's a living being. These hulks are programmed to follow very basic instructions, but nothing close to what this one does when she's around. What's really incredible is no one seems to care. Hope the brute won't hurt her. Well, actually, on second thought, it seems to be protecting her from other robots and even people. I saw it crush an arachnid robot once, and Sophie took great joy in that. Not sure if I should be scared or amazed. I would certainly love to take a closer look at this interaction with labs. Might as well yield very valuable results. My god, what's happening? The formations are attacking people en masse. Is the rumor about Laura Wyke actually true after all? Has she gone mad and ordered this massacre? In any case, I put an extremely aggressive corrosive agent into the air filter chamber ventilation system to stall the robots. Seems to be working well on the fumatons. They just melt after contact with the agent. At least the smaller ones do, but I fear it may not be enough for the big one. When this craziness blows over, hopefully you can just inject a neutralizer to the chambers via the control panel. 31132. Until then, don't even think about going in, otherwise your skin will start dropping off. Adam Cray. Let's say clue that Nook looked like a perfect place to hide my dirty Macs. Nothing beats Fancy Nancy, you know. With some Jack I stole them. Hope they don't know where they were mine. I'm now trying to play sonic recordings with the Fumium core, and dude, I'm getting some crazy results. Plants and small animals are reacting to the sounds in the weirdest ways. How to put that in words? It's almost like the core has a life on its own too. If only they would let me see that thing down there in the deep. The new recordings are real strange. Strangely beautiful. They kind of sound like music, a deep, moving, heart-wrenching music. I can't quite picture what the Fumium core is or what it looks like, but I can hear its beating heart with its unique, ravishing melodies. Does it sing to me? Dude, I'm so behind schedule, have done a thing on that office wavelength research in the past 2 weeks. Just can't help myself, captivated by the chants of the core all days long. I hope these faked results will satisfy the management in the meantime. Music is a language and I must break the code. It's not my personal mission. It's trying to speak. I've made a breakthrough and decoded some basic words in the areas the core is singing to me. I now understand what it wants, what it feels. We must do whatever it takes to follow its lead. It's way beyond our intelligence and comprehension of reality. It can take us to places we've never even dreamed of. But nobody understands. These fools just won't listen, and they think I'm the crazy one here. My last hope is to approach Laura Wyke, the head substance researcher, who seems to be intrigued by my findings. Maybe her influence can sway opinions and give my research some credibility. Ben Kinley. Surprising find. Whoa, guess what I found in the crates that came in yesterday? Guns! Lots of them. Couldn't help myself and took one, just in case, might be some sort of meltdown. You never know. This all looks more likely, as I heard some experiments went a bit wonky up there in the labs. God knows what they are cooking up. But why the hell do they need guns? And so many of them. Today I managed to get out for a bit to fetch a new cargo from the ship. Seems like the supplies are getting thinner by the months. Anyway, it was a long, hard shift. I don't mind it much though, as long as I get to breathe the fresh air, the fresh sea air. And you know what's best? Down here, I am out of sight of the office. Ever since working here at the sea level floor, I noticed this weird constant sound. It's coming from below. Sounds like pounding. Almost like a heart. Just a huge one. Is the mining gear deep down there in the sea at the fuming core? My foreman, Mr. Ben, seems like a decent fella. He has a good sense of humor and all that, but I can't let him get too close to me. Can't let anybody get too close to me, not after losing my soulmate Lisa. She was so bright and warm, only she got her nose too deep into the fumium research. I did warn her, but she just wouldn't listen to me. So now I've dedicated myself to work and nothing else. Keeps you occupied and keeps the blues at bay. James Kroll, lifetime opportunity.
I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. Studying at the Supreme Bureau University comes with prestige, sure, but now I can start my career. Finally. As one of the proud draftsmen for the head architect of the Bureau, the Ark's Vaporum is partly my doing. The tower is a testament to our technological advances. The Arx is going to bring about a historical breakthrough once we decipher the substance on the seabed, the marvelous fumium, and we can show the world what it can do. We have such great expectations. Such fond memories of my study years. The Bureau had granted me a scholarship, which I gladly repaid by pledging to work in the Ark's Vaporum for a 7-year term. My dreams came true. When I first arrived on Capitol Island, coming from my home at Garrian Islet, the astonishing sight of the labs, workshops, and all the machinery took me by storm. It was like Christmas trees covered with shiny cogs instead of balls and ornaments. It was heaven. Lots of folks grumble at the Bureau nowadays for silencing the critics and abusing power, supposedly. In my eyes, the Bureau is doing it right. Technology, order, and science should all be at the heart of society. I am where I am today, amidst the pioneers of the world, only thanks to the Supreme Bureau.
Oh.
Huh. What a nerd.
Another great success. Today, the local coordinator for the Bureau and Chief Officer of the Arks, Marcus Reich, appointed me Deputy Foreman of Manufacturing. I'll take care of workshops, maintenance, and manufacturing itself. I'm so proud that Mr. Reich recognized my accomplishments. He's a role model to me. Not only is he an experienced scientist and a veteran of the island wars against the rebels, he's also the ideal man for the job. An excellent choice by the Bureau to lead the project. He and his wife Laura are the perfect model of how I picture my life in the future.
No.
The Bureau sent us refined blueprints for the new fumium batteries. The drafts have come a long way since my time at the university. These new prototypes should amend any issues that were known to have caused the shutdown at the Kennett Island research project. The way the battery works is now based on Wilhelm's grid. It's made of fumium-enhanced steel, holding the fumium grains nicely intact and should prove to be a lot more stable than before. Out of curiosity, I took a peek at the Kennett project, but there's no info, a complete blank. Well, apart from a dry note in the archives. Research complete, station closed. Along with the new batteries, we also started to produce fumitons, which are powered by these powerful battery cells. They're an evolution of the basic model of quadrupedal Iraq 3, which used to have a coal-burning module with a boiler and a simple piston. We replaced the whole system with a simple expansion chamber for the battery and more robust piston parts. This is the first attempt at installing the new modular gadget prototype system into an exo-rig. You can cut the excitement in the air with a blade. We're full of expectations. The whole point of the exo-rigs is to provide a safe interface for various energy and fumium-based gadgets, along with some basic protection, of course. Best thing about the new system is the modularity. You can use these gadgets in about any machine, robot, or device that compiles with the base interface. And now, having gadgets in an exo-rig? Boy, the possibilities are endless. Rigs will get to be so much more useful and powerful. Can't wait to get my hands on a fully working rig.
Nerd.
Today I met Mrs. Page, the brilliant scientist, the star on the team and whose reputation precedes her. But, to be honest, I'm disappointed. She looks diminished, haggard, and nothing like the bright expert everyone was making her out to be. Although it was a brief meeting, I picked up a few facts, thanks to my superior deduction prowess. Firstly, she does not govern the research. On the contrary, she only has a minor supporting role. This seems really strange given her qualification level and expertise. In my understanding, and from what Laura Reich was saying, she simply does not live up to her reputation. Perhaps she spent too much time writing books instead of some real work in the field. Researching Fumium is seriously demanding. Secondly, she despises me, and I kind of get that. While her star is quickly fading, mine is on the rise. Never mind though, we have Laura, and I'm sure she can take Paige's place and excel in both research and leadership. Let the old lady handle the tubes. Early this morning, I met Lucy Page on the balcony again. She was so nervous, constantly looking around, as if she was afraid that somebody might have overheard what she was about to whisper to me. Man, what whining! Laura this, Laura that. She's inexperienced, she's neglectful, she's evil. What's wrong with this old hag? Laura is a bright, outstanding scientist. She understands the project's priorities, and unlike some others, she's willing to make sacrifices. Everybody should. Progress can't be stopped.
Yeah, let's make some sacrifices. Sounds
What
like
a
a great
little worm
idea.
this guy is. I remember him. A young brown nose from a small island imbued with Bureau ideology. Still, at least he took a shine to Laura, apparently.
Laura's been acting really weird in the last few months. She always used to like my quips and observations about the projects and the personnel, but now, she's grown arrogant, even towards me. I understand the ordinary worms on her team don't deserve sympathy, but why does she just glance over me? I'm not just anybody, I'm James Kroll. After all, maybe Mrs. Page wasn't as off about Laura as I thought. There's definitely something going on with her. Something subversive. Mrs. Page, or may I call you Lucy? You were right about Laura. You were right all along. The woman is insane. She just took 3 engineers on my team up to her chambers to use them in her newest crazy creation. Can I safely assume I won't ever see them again? I was so blinded by my own arrogance, Lucy. I should have listened to you about Laura's crimes. I should have listened to Liam Howell about the Fumium Core and its messages. I'm so sorry. But I'll take the evidence you've put together, and we'll confront Laura. Along with all the other pissed-off men and women, we'll take her down. I hope you get this recording before it's too late.
Well, that didn't work out. Note to loading bay workers. Do not obstruct the controls with the bloody crates or another crap. I've already told you once and you did it again. Inspection from the top can come anytime, any day. I'm not losing my job cause of your lazy asses. Welded one, the tech report. In the morning I was calibrating a welded one with a new Fumium battery sent from the labs. Tinkering with the clockwork I managed to achieve around a 40% in performance increase, which is great. Unfortunately, at times the drone behaved erratically and deviously. Late in the day it even attacked me. I'm lucky to have survived, turning off the damn machine just about in time. I really don't recommend that the new batteries are installed into any working drones on this floor. I'm gonna wait for further instructions from the office. The transporter generator room is only accessible to those with a permit from Chief Officer Marcus Weig. Ask for the correct documentation and the key at his office downstairs. Hey Jane, sorry to hear about your hardships. Hardly found a spare minute to write you back. Been doing double shifts for like forever. No time for myself or my dear ones. This is the second time we've had to replace the fuel pumps already. Not piece by piece, but the whole technology. First diesel instead of steam, no Fumium instead of diesel. If you ask me, diesel was perfectly okay, and we could have stayed on that just fine. A few of our men got exposed to new substance and had to be sent to the infirmary. Never seen burn so strange. Anyway, sorry for the van. Sadly I won't make it to the canteen tomorrow. Maybe next week? Hey babe, glad to hear you're doing just fine. See, thought you were overreacting, you know, everything was new to you, the work, the people. We finished replacing the whole fueling core with fumium propellants, and I have to take back what I said about it earlier. Sure, it's a little more tricky to get around fumium without compromising your health, but the damn thing outputs over 10 times more power than was even possible with leading-edge combustion engines. This could be a game changer for the world. So no time to meet up at the Mo? Just let me know when you have a minute and we can go grab a beer. Hey dude, have you seen old Manham lately? Can't find him anywhere. I need him to okay the replacement of the pipes in the boiler. If we don't do it soon, they might blow, especially given any slight pressure change. It's urgent. I was so excited to get into this big project, the Vaporum. Finally, the Bureau had acknowledged my achievements. I could put my years of expertise to use to some real meaningful use. Only now I'm a little torn between pride and apprehension. This place, the research tower, gives me the creeps. The monster of a cage that it is, committing to live in this metallic vault for another 7 years. Oh god, my chest is thumping with anxiety, yet at the same time the excitement is unparalleled. And my superior Laura, she's obviously enthusiastic and all that, but a little too young for my taste, and too high-handed. With my extensive experience in physics, substance synthesis and modulation pattern matching, she should defer to me a little. We need to utilize maximum expertise and caution when approaching this unknown essence, not to direct us as if an over-eager girl. I just hope I haven't made a big mistake in taking this job. Exactly what I was afraid of. In her inexperience, Laura tends to glance over some of the critical phases of a research block, because they are boring, as she puts it. How can safety and precaution be boring? We've only just begun our foray into the mysteries of fumium, and we are already on the wrong foot, taking unnecessary risks. I insisted on repeating the test under my rigorous supervision, but she simply overruled me. How am I going to put up with this little bitch? I'll present my reservations at the next report meeting. Yeah, reservations. I'm pretty sure Chief Officer Mr. White will take heed, even though she's his wife. This is getting absurd. This charlatan Laura has relegated me to the auxiliary assistant team, preventing me from participating in the meetings. Does nobody see what's going on here? With all my academic titles, textbooks and extensive publications in scientific journals, my job is to handle test tubes now? If someone does intervene, Laura will sink the whole project and all the good people along with it. I've changed the state of play. I pretend to follow Laura's lead without question though, to get closer to her latest experiments, to gather evidence on her craziness. So in essence, I behave just like that sleazy Quoll, this Dutch mannequin. And it's working. She thinks I finally came to my senses. She's just as dumb as I first thought. Still, I know I'm taking a huge risk, but I just cannot stand by and watch this evil witch burn the world. If she finds out that I'm spying on her, it will be my last day's breath. I'm 100% positive about that. On that, yep, she has gone too far. Oh my god! Laura is now testing her newest contraption, a teleportation device, on live subjects. Us! She speaks of merging realities, crossing the gateways, communing with the source. She's just gone plain mad. I've gathered enough material to prove her guilt of severe crimes, but who would I even approach with it? Especially now that Chief Officer Riker is absent from the arcs. That witch would probably still find a way to silence me again. My only hope left is a dummy James Quoll. Even he seems to be growing fed up with Lover's madness. About time. James, I fear for my life. She has just called me to the teleportation chamber. I know we'd had our differences, but please, take all the evidence and stand up against her. I hid it in our secret stash place. Lead the charge. You're the only one left that can do it. I'm sorry. We'll probably never see each other again.
My Marcus was chosen by the Bureau to lead the Vaporum, which is under construction out there on the high seas right now. We decided to accept the offer to live there and lead the research. It's a test our marriage must undergo. I stood by my loving husband through his years in the military, and I'm ready to support him now. It won't be easy. I'll be in charge of a fair amount of research at the tower, but my family means everything to me. Thanks to this commission, the Bureau will provide us with everything for a happy life somewhere on an island of our own. One day.
Aww.
We have arrived! Finally, our new home here at the Vaporum. I'm impressed by what the Bureau has accomplished. It's gargantuan. Can't wait to unpack and start working. Being stranded here in the middle of the ocean like this worries me a little, but the tower feels strong and safe. I'm pretty sure no Canute will repeat ever again. The research on the Fumium shows promise. Maybe I'm dreaming here, but it could just happen to be the next marvel of the world, and we'll be right in the thick of things. I'm so looking forward to taking over and continuing the project, and the best thing about it is the fusion of family and working life combined together. Today is the most beautiful day in my life. I found out that I'm pregnant. Marcus and I will have a baby. But still, raising a child here in the tower, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I will have to protect it from the effects of the Fumium. The thing is, I'm starting to doubt that we really know anything about its power or influence. I'm pretty sure, though, that if it proves to be dangerous to the baby, Marcus and I will go back to the capital island. We'll be a family, and that's much more important than any research or benefits from the Bureau. I've always felt it, or rather, the lack of it, my purpose in life. I always knew there was something out there for me to do, to follow, to carry out. I just didn't know what it was until today. I think I just found it. Fumium is so intriguing. It drives me crazy, in a good way. I'm coming up with ideas on how to use it every day, and the substance never ceases to amaze me on how flexible it is. We already have a working fuel prototype which outdoes even the most modern diesel solutions. At this early stage, is there any limit on what we can do with this? Marcus has taken notice of my constant overtime. I admit, he's right, I should spend more time with him. And being pregnant, I should definitely take more time to rest. But I just can't help myself. I'm thinking about the research all day long. I just gave birth to a beautiful girl, Sophie. It all went well. I should probably feel guilty about this, but I'm not all that excited. I don't even feel exhausted, physically or mentally. To be honest, I'm just anxious to get back to the research seat as soon as possible. That's what I'm here to do. After 5 years of Fumium research, I can certainly say it's a lot more intriguing than we ever thought. We must give the research all we can. I keep asking Marcus to assign more people to my research, and to ask the Bureau for more scientists too. I'm having fits of anger every other day because of all this inept personnel. We have had 2 serious accidents already because the dumb dabblers can't work safely and rigorously under pressure, like me. Look, I'm raising a child and still leading the research. To top it off, Marcus is putting his nose in things now, asking this and that, and this only slows down my progress. He just can't possibly conceive why it's so important to put every single resource we've got solely into my research. As if that wasn't enough, I'm having terrible headaches at night, on top of all the other annoying problems that slow down my research. Only being in and around my lab can ease the pain. I spend both days and nights here now. This place gives me the perfect deep sleep and amazing lucid dreams. I think I'm going to sidestep the authorization process for every research block from now on. It's driving me insane from how much it slows things down. And I don't need to wait for Marcus or the Bureau's verdict. Only I know what's best for my research. Marcus has sailed away to the Bureau's citadel, supposedly to answer for how he lost control over me in the tower, to provide explanations and defend me from prosecution for neglecting protocol. Marcus is a coward, a scared fool, a short-sighted lackey to the Bureau who can't understand the importance of freedom in my research projects. Same goes for all the fools who've been rebelling against me since his departure, unwilling to continue the experiments. Who cares? Now that Marcus is away, my real research shall commence, whether anyone likes it or not. The fools revolted. It began within my own team of underlings and quickly spread to the common workers. They accuse me of people disappearances, that I neglect safety and push them to the limits, in taking grave risks. Useless worms! They have no idea that some of them have already become a part of my secret experiment, one not even Marcus knows about. At the gathering, even James Kroll, the prodigy kid and loyal follower of my endeavors, questioned me, Laura Reich! What nerve! And then he pointed at my Fumium amplifier headset, accusing the substance of having infected me. All of a sudden, this uncontrollable primal anger took hold of me. I lashed out at him, and struck him with a discharge. The kid just collapsed to the ground with his eyes gouged out and his brain leaking out of his ears. And then I blacked out.
Whoops.
I just can't believe what was happening during my absence. Why would Laura do such things? At least the state the tower's in is starting to make sense now.
Unlimited power!
When I came round, back to myself, I saw it. The massacre. It seemed that within a few hours, everybody in the tower had either been eradicated or fled to the sea. But even they were doomed in the inhospitable waters of Mare Vaporum. I feel so responsible for this. I didn't really want this. But I can't control the fury that burns within me. My combat fumatons killed everybody. What happened to me? Mindlessly, as if led by something beyond me, I put the dead bodies that stayed in a more or less intact state into fumium solution tanks, and ordered the fumatons to clear out the tower of any further remains.
So that's why we didn't see any corpses
Oh my
or something.
god, woman, what did you do? Is that the devil inside you, or is it fumium?
I haven't been able to find Sophie since the horrible incident. She witnessed it all, and I'm sure she must be confused. Even without words, we both know what the other one is thinking, or feeling. I feel her fear and distrust now. I must find her. She's the key to everything. With all my research assistants gone, I've come up with a new way to keep the projects going. One of my secret projects is proving very helpful with this. The beginning, when I still had to keep it a secret, was difficult. A simple fumium amplifier strapped onto a dead but preserved body allowed the fumium substance to infiltrate and take control of the organism. The first remades. They only could produce manual output and grew physically due to the infestation. Later on, I managed to create competent and obedient servants using the bodies of my former closest assistants by putting them to sleep and then applying the amplifiers. I think it was their disappearances that raised suspicion, ultimately leading to the revolt. I no longer feel pity for what happened. There are no annoying distractions left to hinder my progress. Finally. Strangest thing. Some of the bodies that I put into the fumium tanks a while ago are now showing signs of life. They've lost hair, their tissue went through a very intriguing transformation, filling their wounds and scars with fumium lesions, effectively coating the cuts. It's fascinating to see that fumium can create another life form on its own, even without any interference. One of them even woke up and smashed the glass tank. Fortunately, 2 remade Guardians crushed it with their hammers before it could escape. If it had ever gotten into the complex, the Guardians would have had no chance to neutralize it, seeing how fast and agile it was. Marcus is returning. I cannot let him enter the Arks. The Bureau will have sent an elite commander unit along with him for sure. I want to remove him from our life. Neither Sophie nor I need him. Our place is here, in the tower. His place is at the bottom of the sea.
Well, at least I know what happened to me now. And how I ended up washed up on that rock. It was my own wife that did it to me.
Sophie grows more and more distant, and bolder. She creates hideaways and passages through vents to get out of my reach. She's constantly interfering with my work, trying to command renades, playing with lab devices, milling about my new fumium amplifier. At least her small head and body cannot carry the weight of the parts required for the amplifier to function. After I caught her trying to use my latest prototype on herself, I took her teddy bear as punishment and safely locked up the device on the top floor. There's no way she can ever get in there, and so my tests can continue, without any hassles, I hope. The toy, the stupid little bear, always melts her heart. It will come in handy. I can use it to control her. I might give it back to her once she behaves according to her purpose.
That's so mean. Don't take a teddy bear away.
Impossible! Marcus has managed to get in? But how? His ship was shot to pieces by tower cannons and sunk to the sea bottom, with everybody on board. Even if he somehow survived, how would he get past any of the sea level entrances? I had them overridden and closed shut from the inside. Unless... No, she has no reason to help him. She knows we depend on each other. She needs me!
Oh yeah, wasn't there some...
Looks like I still have an ally in this fight. Thank you, Sophie.
wasn't there some warning that we heard at the beginning of the game? I guess it was Sophie.
I can't believe it. The latest version of the abrogator gadget has disappeared from the lab storage. The device is exceptional in that it can deactivate any barrier powered by Fumium. It simply obliterates it in a blink of an eye. However, to function it requires large amounts of Fumium itself. I used to power it up in a dedicated ray charging chamber, which we also use to recharge batteries for the golems and the other heavy machines. But it's more handy and fun to suck the Fumium out of my minions. Poor wretches usually don't survive. I suspect Sophie somehow got into the lab and stole the abrogator out of spite, as revenge for me taking her teddy bear. To prevent any further damage, I removed all of the ray aligning mirrors from the chamber and stashed them away in the research chambers.
I remember the gadget, the abrogator. We built a whole chamber for recharging this stuff as the conventional energy transfer was not enough. Apparently, Laura somehow managed to upgrade the gadget to recharge off Fumium-based organisms. However sick that is, it might just come in handy now.
That worm Marcus is causing ruckus down there on the lower floors. I can sense him. He must have stolen one of the leftover exo-rigs to bypass my defenses to get that far. What is it that he wants to achieve? Come home with his warm hands open wide to console his poor wife, to take care of his little daughter? Obedient fool! He can never match my power. You will get to understand that soon.
This is my first recording on a phono diary, and it's just about the best occasion, too. I'm a father. Never felt this happy before. My beloved Laura has given birth to Sophie, our little daughter. I feel a massive shift inside me, like my life will now gain a whole new dimension. This new responsibility is equal to the weight of all the Fumatons in the whole of Arx Vaporum. And yet, bringing up a child still feels like a much more difficult task.
I'm remembering something. The Arx Vaporum, the citadel of steam. And it's slowly coming back to me. I lived here. I worked here. My God, I had a family here. My wife, Laura. My daughter, Sophie. I have to find them.
I feel a massive shit inside me.
Shortly after the island wars ended, seismologists traced a huge earthquake on the high seas of Mount Vaporum, 450 miles south of Capital Island. The capital suffered one of the worst tsunami hits ever recorded. At first we feared the rebels, or rather some isolated unit was still operational, trying to launch something big at us, not knowing the war was already over. Investigation of the area proved intriguing. It was not the rebels, it was a meteor sitting on the seabed. It had to have been there for centuries, lying in silence without anyone noticing. But then somehow it must have cracked open, releasing huge amounts of energy into the sea. We found the meteor core leaking into the water, causing it to boil and bubble, exuding steam from the surface. That began to explain the ever-present vapors in the area, a mystery we had previously had no answer to. But it was not the heat that caused this, it was... I will never forget the sight.
Well, obviously I did forget it somehow.
Alcohol.
Once the first samples were laboriously extracted from the meteor core and put under microscope, the high-ranking officials initiated the Catcanut Island Research Project. Unfortunately, the project was plagued by issues from the get-go and was terminated after a terrible incident. It is still there to this day on that island, buried under tons of concrete. The Bureau then decided to start afresh, initiating the Arx Vaporum project, a platform built right above the meteor on the open sea in order to research the substance leaking out. They called it Fumium for its fume-inducing properties. It had to be isolated from the outer world to avoid potential contamination. According to them, my loyalty and leadership skills exhibited during the war made me a prime candidate to lead the Arx. A great honor.
I'm starting to see it clearly now. I'm Marcus Reich, the Arx Vaporum Tower Conductor. I was mandated by the Supreme Bureau to guard and lead the research on the Fumium substance that was found on the waterbed of of Mare Vaporum. But what happened to this place? This was my home. What happened to my family? Why have I abandoned them?
I'm a little worried about the current research projects we're undergoing. The Bureau is slow to analyze our output, and the documents we send out every month have still not been acknowledged or even given proper opponency. We haven't received authorization for the upcoming research schemes either. However, some teams continue to hammer away on their own initiative, and I have to curb the progress artificially. What's worse, more and more accidents are popping up around the research focused on Fumium. Is it because of the failure to comply with regulations, or because of the instability the substance is becoming known for? I don't know yet, and I want answers.
There she is, my dear Sophie. My little fragile girl in a steel cage infused by Fumium. This isn't how I imagined her 5th birthday would be. It breaks my heart to see her ignore the candles on her cake that she should be blowing out, all excited. Instead, she's staring at a fumaton that's about to cut the cake for her. I feel the environment hinders her natural mental growth. The Bureau releases most families with newborns from duty, but our agreement with them, Laura's and mine, will last for another year. Our positions here are too important for them to replace us or even give us temporary leave. Sophie's different from the other children I remember from the islands or my own childhood. No kid has ever spent their entire, albeit short, life in a mechanical colossus like this. And I suspect Fumium will play some role as well. We still don't quite understand its properties or influence on humans. Laura's waist-deep in Fumium research, exposed to it day and night, and she's becoming colder and colder towards our little girl. Still, Sophie doesn't seem to care too much. She's always with her. They can spend hours in each other's company without ever even saying a word.
Laura and I are getting so distant from each other. She takes no heed to my authority anymore. She initiates research projects behind my back, pressures her research team members who in turn stop sticking to the safety protocols, and the accidents happen. 2 operators have already died this month. One of them took a Fumium jolt right through his body, and the other one... God, what was left of her I can only describe as a wet meatloaf. As if something scrambled her into hash. Her notes were full of crazy things. Something about teleportation, the merging of realities. I had to report the accidents to the Bureau. I can't understand how Laura could have changed so much. And Sophie? She just follows her wherever she goes, in silence. I see no joy, curiosity, or excitement in her face. I see fear. Sophie confides in me, but she sees me more as her peer, rather than as a father. Is my family really crumbling? How did it even happen? Is it my fault? The inevitable has come. The Bureau has called for me to answer for the accidents in the Ark's Vaporum. They're sending an escort ship to take me to Capital Island. My heart is pounding. In a way, I'm looking forward to seeing the beautiful Citadel again after several years. But it's a pity Sophie can't come along. I so much want her to see the normal world. Leaving the tower with Laura in charge. To say I'm worried is an understatement. I have no idea what to expect from her when I return.
Okay, I can read again. How long has this been going on for, by the way, already? Gosh! Almost an hour! Holy shit! Big robot. I make a big robot, my friend. He beats Batman, but plays with me. Okay. Mommy took my teddy bear. I miss him, but I took Mommy's toy. If she gives my teddy bear back into my chest, I will give her toy back. It vibrates when I turn it on. It's quite weird. At first, figuring out the erratic prototype was fun and challenging. All the exciting technology, new Fumium cells, advanced discharge tubes, intricate blueprints. Man, I've poured my soul into this project. These spider machines are a work of art. But now, 7 months into production, my motivation and faith are fading fast. Ultimately, I have to be honest with myself. I don't quite understand why we are making so many of them. Actually, what's the purpose of it all? Where are we heading with this? Whoever did lift maintenance last time did a very poor job. The power handle is broken again. Can't really rely on these blockheads anymore. No use whining though. I did a better job myself with good old 112's very own hands. This is my latest Fumium-based toy, the Umbrella Field Generator. It can create a static protective barrier that absorbs damage coming from the surroundings. Very useful when you need to tinker with welding drones. and also third-gen fumatons. It's bizarre that we now need some sort of protection from the very robots that we created to serve us. But that's the crude reality. What's even more bizarre though is that it's pretty unpopular to point these facts out. Ignoration. I feel so helpless. It's the third time I have sent an inquiry to the upper floors about what the pocket state is, what's next down the line, what's planned, and nothing. Just plain ignoration. All other communication flows smoothly without a hitch, but any questions about the purpose of the project have simply gone ignored. So apparently as Chief Robotics Engineer I have no right to know why we are doing what we are doing. If we were somewhere near Capital Island I would simply assume that we are making a robot army for the Bureau. God I hate Quall. This new kid, this Quall Cup, he thinks he's some kind of hotshot. Not sure I've ever met anyone so eager to promote the greatness of the Bureau. Any piece of crap they split out is gold to him, no matter how flawed his design is. I filed multiple issues along with specific improvements of my own. Guess what? Nothing! That's what. All rejected. Why did Wyke even pick me to lead the engineering team if I have no say in anything that goes on? And that blind, naive, spoiled brat Noel with an idiotic smirk on his face thinks everything nice and dandy. Screw him. We discovered cockroaches here in the Arx of Porvo. They must have found their way in here with the supplies of fruit and veg. We quickly decided to eradicate them, but then Lava stepped in with a bold idea. Let's use them for research. We feed fumium-enhanced food hash to these little pesky creatures. Well, little. They are growing fast. We had to build holding cells for them as they started to lash out at us. Very agile, quick and hard to contain. I just hope these roachings don't become too strong to break out of the cells. Observing their growth and behavior is marvelous, but they are a risk we cannot foresee, I'm afraid. Although the population of roaches did not originally possess any form of acidic attack, some have now developed a strong spitting mechanism inside the mandibles. The ball of spit tends to burst into a pool of acid on impact, very toxic with possible long-lasting effects on health. I believe this has to do with the diet we feed each group, a different variation of human-based food. I will need to get more statistical data on this to be sure. Some of the cute cuddly roachlings can grow up to the size of a bull. We still don't know why this only happens in a small percentage of the population. While slower and less agile than their smaller counterparts, they tend to develop a strong layer of chitinous armor at the front and their sides, coated with barbed wire-like structures, which can easily damage human tissue and touch. These giants also seem to regenerate pretty rapidly when under attack. Despite all that and their robust bodies, they are still quite vulnerable from the rear. Oh, that's what they tell me. Oh, maybe I should have read these notes. Hey buddy! Haven't seen you in a long time, since they assigned me to the labs. Life is one big bore. The people here are different, so serious and reserved. Someone could have told me that dress code was funeral up here. Suits, cloak, ties and blank looks. Something definitely going on this floor, I can tell you that. Something... just cannot quite find the words to best say it. See you in the canteen tomorrow? Hey friend, remember my last letter going on about how boring life was here? Well, you can just forget about that. We are working on a new exciting experiment led by Laura Wyke. She's amazing, and I must say I finally found my place in the tower. Won't be able to meet you at lunch anytime soon, you know, buried in all these test tubes and papers and tasks. The first few attempts at setting up safe teleportation roads have, as you might have guessed, gone terribly wrong. Well, that's research for you. You have to expect the unexpected. Anyway, in one such incident we lost contact with the subject we sent there, but we could still hear things, as if the sound was able to travel back and forth. What we heard to put it mildly, it was not pleasant. After a while the sound stopped and we do not know what was happening to the subject. If anyone is crazy enough they can still try the combination, but I strongly advise against it. Combination 110010. Incredible! And what we've achieved in the last 3 years thanks to Fumium is beyond amazing. The teleportation technology is now considered stable and safe to use. A few hiccups here and there, sure, but nothing that cannot be amended over time. Mrs. Wyke, Mr. Quall and I set up several test chambers, each connected with the central hub. The oldest one we have successfully and safely connected is for testing headset amplifiers. Some gifted people, including Mrs. Wyke herself, have already made significant strides toward research for amplifying brain power. Exciting times. We've been quite capable of determining the behavioral patterns of fuming in rather great detail, but from time to time anomalies appear, ones we cannot decipher yet. One such anomaly has taken residence in one of the test chambers, so the chamber has been dedicated to researching whatever that thing is. You can only do so much with mice and also animal testing, but you will never know what the exact interactions with human beings are. Sooner or later we had to find willing test subjects with direct exposure to the substance. Well, the results are far from dull. We've observed a behavioral and psychological shift in the subject as well as a visible change in their appearance. Not really a test chamber per se, we've just used as part of the old ventilation system to carry out tests regarding light fumium gas circulation and the effects on the populace. I'm not very proud of this one, as the consequences were rather costly. Ah yes, this one. Since the experiments in the human fumium interaction chamber, we've had nothing but problems in this test room. Fumium has manifested into various shapes and forms here, and we were basically forced to leave it to the whims of the substance. I'm stating the teleport combination here, but please note that this chamber is considered extremely dangerous. I seem to have been traveling between realities for what feels like weeks now. I've seen strange things and been to places that I could never have imagined. It just happens. You're somewhere, you're fine, and suddenly the sound, the holding, then the dragging. Oh, the terrible pain and the feeling, as if you have been stretched out a mile long. And then all of a sudden you're somewhere else, but your body somehow just feels warm, as if it was left behind in another reality. And then the traveling just stopped, somehow. I heard your voices from the control room the whole time. I've been screaming my lungs out, but you've never once responded. Now it feels like I'm just disappearing, vanishing from existence. Please, I'm begging you, get me out of here. Okay. Well, to be quite honest, the story was a little bit foreseeable. I mean, quite at the beginning, that something was up with Laura. That Sophie, yeah, it's another twist. That's been done a billion times. Overall, the game is good. The game is great, it's fun. Like I said, it could really use a little bit more enemy variety. Not necessarily, I mean, the enemy, what they did was okay, like the robots that did this 8x8 square attack and stuff like that, 8x8, yeah, 3x3 square attack and stuff like that. It would have just been great if like the shock things looked different than the acid things. If the welder drones maybe looked a little bit different instead of just the thing they had in front. Something like that. A little bit. The cockroaches could have looked a little bit different. It all looked samey. And also the game was like grey walls and brown walls. I don't know. Yeah, it's part of the game, but then change your story a little bit. I don't know. But I guess it was designed that way, so I can't really complain. Again, the game is fun. I guess I would have had more fun if I just played it in one go or something like that, or 2 days. But yeah, anyways, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see each other soon. So take care and hit the like button.